UFC Fight Night Kansas City Holloway vs Allen took place, and it was an amazing card. It started a bit slow, but got better and better as the night went on. A total of 14 fights on the card, 7 finishes and some weird moments. One of which we are going to discuss straight away. The first fight of the night, Joselyne Edwards vs Lucie Pudilova. The fight went similar to how I predicted it would, the only difference being Edwards looked a lot better in the last round rather than the first. And honestly, if this was a man's bout, I wouldn't see a problem with the decision. It was clear that Edwards did the most damage, which is the primary judging criteria in MMA. But we all know that in women's MMA they play by different rules. Control time is a lot more valued in women's MMA, and watching this fight makes me feel like the judges are finally judging the fight as they should, but it looked as if Edwards was the only one who they sent the memo. She wins by split decision, unlucky for Pudilova, I guess. Moving on to Gaston Baloños vs Aaron Phillips. Not too interesting of a fight. Phillips, as I said in my prediction, had nothing on the feet for Baloños, and every time Baloños got closer, Phillips forced grappling exchanges to avoid taking a lot of damage. Ready went tit for tat. Baloños wins this fight by unanimous decision. On to the next fight and the first finish of the night. Denise Gomes vs Bruna Brasil. Gomes gets the second round knockout over Bruna Brasil. Gomes looked good throughout the entire first round, landing big shots, pushing the pace, controlling the fight. Brasil looked jittery. She had a chin up in the air at all times and she didn't look to make adjustments after getting clipped a couple times. In the second round she paid for that. Gomes dropped Brasil with a big right hand and swarms her to get the finish. Good performance from Denise Gomes. Next up on the card, Daniel Zellhuber vs Lando Vannata. This was a fun fight. Vannata looked very fast. Zellhuber looked very confident. In the first round, Vannata was doing a great job at closing the distance fast and letting off some shots on Zellhuber. That is, until he got hurt by a left hand from Zellhuber that drops Vannata to the canvas. Zellhuber goes in for the kill and swarms Vannata, but Vannata does a good job at getting his wits back and surviving. The other 2 rounds were very competitive, but it is Zellhuber who gets the nod in the end by unanimous decision. Moving on to the next fight, Gillian Robertson vs Piera Rodriguez. Great performance by Gillian Robertson, getting the second round submission, as I predicted she would. Rodriguez was clearly the better striker in this matchup, but Robertson did a good job at luring Rodriguez into her, so she could pull guard and take her to the ground. It was in the second round when Robertson shot a takedown seconds into the round, and found herself an armbar, to which Rodriguez made a weird motion that looked as if she had tapped, to which the ref ended the fight. However, Rodriguez protested the stoppage. Great job by Robertson, she received a performance bonus. On to the next, Zak Cummings vs Ed Herman. Cummings looked unstoppable in this fight, dropping Herman multiple times each round. Herman showed great heart, but you can only get dropped so many times, and as I said he would. In the third round, Cummings dropped Herman again, but this time finished the fight. Both fighters announced their retirements after the fight. They had an emotional moment, which was nice to see, and apparently both of them got a little retirement gift from the UFC, which was well deserved after a fight like that. Next up, Brandon Royval vs Matheus Nicolau. Royval straight up murked Nicolau. The round starts a bit slow, they tap each other with some shots. Halfway into the round, Royval fakes a jab and sneaks up a nasty knee, putting Nicolau out on his feet. Some follow-up shots and the fight was over. Crazy knockout by Brandon Royval. He earned himself a performance bonus and a spot as the backup for the flyweight title shot between Moreno and Pantoja at UFC 290. And now the last fight of the prelims and the fight of the night, Bill Algeo vs TJ Brown. This was an absolute banger, very fun fight to watch. These two ended a dogfight as soon as the first bell sounded. The first round went to Brown in my opinion, landing the more damaging shots, some big knees on the nose of Algeo. Round 2, Brown comes out fierce, but Algeo drops him bad with a perfectly timed elbow as Brown steps in. Algeo jumps on the back of Brown and gets the second round submission by rear naked choke. Both fighters came out of this fight looking great, but I was most impressed with how good TJ Brown looked in this fight. Great performance by both. On to the first fight on the main card, Rafa Garcia vs Guida. This was a pretty still fight in the terms of excitement. Garcia hit a new personal best on significant strikes by jabbing Guida's face in for 15 minutes straight. Guida didn't seem to be able to find a way around it. Garcia won by unanimous decision. Moving on to the next fight, Pedro Munoz vs Chris Gutierrez. This was a very technical fight. Both guys have solid defense, apart from the moment in the first round when Munoz drops Gutierrez and jumps on him. Gutierrez, however, survived, but didn't seem to be able to get it going after getting dropped. Munoz won by unanimous decision. This was an alright fight, nothing too crazy. Up next, Ion Cutelaba vs Tanner Boser. Well, I did say it was going to be a quick one, but Cutelaba gets it done in the first. He came out aggressive and started putting hands on Boser, dropping him with an overhand right, to which Boser gets back up, but Cutelaba drags him back down and starts unloading a barrage of punches until the ref steps in, getting himself a TKO win over Boser in the first. Good performance by Cutelaba. Moving on to the feature fight of the card, Azamat Murzakanov vs Dustin Jacoby. This was a weird fight to me. Jacoby pretty much outstruck Murzakanov every round, but gets dropped in the first 2 rounds each. And in the third round, Murzakanov slowed down bad. Jacoby is now hurting Murzakanov with his strikes, and knowing he has to get a finish in the last round, Jacoby decides to shoot for takedowns, allowing Murzakanov to stall and survive. Very weird decision making from Dustin Jacoby. Murzakanov wins a unanimous decision and improves his undefeated record to 13-0. The co-main event, Edson Barboza vs Billy Quarantillo. Barboza adds Quarantillo to his list of unfortunate victims. Now, Quarantillo was doing great. He was mixing it up. They went pretty even on strikes. Barboza was wearing most of the damage, and it was Quarantillo pushing Barboza against the cage. And as Billy threw a jab and dipped his head low, Barboza launched a knee all the way from Brazil straight onto the chin of Quarantillo, putting him out cold. The knee was so fast I didn't even see it watching it live. Barboza adds another scary knockout to the reel. Great job by Barboza getting himself a performance bonus. And to close the show, the main event, Max Holloway vs Arnold Allen. This was a very good fight. Allen clearly had the power advantage, landing some heavy shots on Holloway throughout the fight. I was very happy to see Allen managing his gas tank better than in his previous fights. Holloway was a lot more patient than we are used to seeing from him, while still being able to put combinations together. The first and the third round were clear Holloway. Round 2 and 4 were close and could have gone either way, and round 5 was clear Allen. Up until the end of the round, where Allen goes for broke trying to catch Holloway, but ends up getting rocked and dropped himself. Holloway wins a unanimous decision and ends Allen's 10-fight unbeaten streak inside the UFC. And that was it for this week's card. We went 9-5 on predictions, minus the details in which I believed they would end, which is not too bad. I hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and until the next time.